This Coca-Cola 600 DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 deposit bonus.
Start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting until I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. And if you've been following along with the saga that is this week in the NASCAR gambling world, you'll know that we do try to give you whatever Xfinity or trucks or sometimes both betting episodes right after we bring you the Cup episode. But this week, we've had to shuffle the deck all over the place. And today we will bring you our DFS Picks edition because we are awaiting odds, Cody, on the Truck Series for Charlotte to drop.
That we are, Rod. We are just a lot of waiting around this week. A lot of racing this week. A lot of stuff to bet on. We're really excited. We're ready to go. And the books are less excited and not ready to go, which is, it's all right. Going to stay positive, though. We got DFS stuff is up. Underdog's got a bunch of great stuff out there for us. So excited to talk in the fantasy streets today. And, we'll definitely have the Truck Xfinity show tomorrow, along with the Indy 500 show.
Oh yeah, that's true too. I will defend because I'm a guy who likes to actually give people the benefit of the doubt, and I will give the books just a slight benefit of the doubt. This is a very busy weekend. I'm sure there is a lot of stuff that goes into preparing for Monaco, for Indy, for the Coke 600, and all the stuff that goes around it. So I understand, I get it, but then we're also impatient and we want it all now. So can't even deny our humanity on that one as well. Checking in real quick, John saying Larson's going to go back to back. We'll see about that. Back to back what? Back to back in the Indy and the Coke 600, because that'd be a lot of fun to watch that happen.
Oh, that'd be imagine winning both those races. Probably not going to happen, right? If anybody could do it, it's Larson. But boy, it'd be crazy to see something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if we watched history, that would just be icing on the cake. Rye saying, let's go. How we feeling, fellas? Pretty good, actually. Very, very good. I will say,
Ryan checking in.
Ryan's got a lot of emojis going on. I love it. I will say we did appear on the big show last night. So if you haven't checked out the Sports Gambling Podcast main show, Cody and I did make an appearance there last night, and we gave out some of our favorite bets of it, but we talked with Sean and Ryan about this whole weekend of racing. And for those of you who have watched it and wondered why was Max Verstappen the cover boy for the Indy and the Cup race edition of this, well, they got a long running joke about the Max Verstappen being the best NASCAR driver out there ever. So it was a nice troll job on Cody. And Cody, Even Cody fell for it for a second. Cody, I'm gonna throw you.
I fell for it. Before the show last night, I was like, oh my God, they put an F1 guy on this. Like, they're not really, they're not racing guys. Too much Kramer a little bit into F1, but they're not racing guys, right? And so I was just, they're like, oh, Max Verstappen, big name, like slapped him. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna make us look like idiots. And then I realized after I texted it to you, and you're like, nah, that's a troll. And I'm like, fuck, it is a troll job. Then Ryan's wearing his McLaren shirt that's 6 sizes too small that his wife found at a garage sale or something. And it was a lot of fun. So make sure you go check that out.
Boston definitely gave us a nice little platform from which to talk racing on, and we took full advantage of it. So gotta love it. Marcus, our buddy Marcus, who loves himself some Christopher Bell, he's saying he's gonna go back to back, winning the All-Star race and the Coke 600. Man, Marcus, I love it because you were right 3 times already this season. So we'll see.
4 times if you picked him last week at the All-Star race,
Marcus,
right? Yeah. So interesting news coming out of the Bell camp today. His spotter has been replaced. So they've got 3 points wins already. The All-Star race win last week, and now a spotter change. So interesting. There's no details on why. If the guy was fired, if he quit, if something happened, who knows what the deal was. But Christopher Bell will have a new spotter. I will say, I don't think it really changes much this weekend. Like, I don't think he's gonna have too many issues with having a new spotter. If it was like Daytona or something, the first race, getting used to a new guy might be tough, but not too.
They got the $1 million, and he was like, "I'm out. I'm good." That was
Hey, maybe if his cut was big enough, I'm cashing out right now.
When you set that limit for yourself, where it's like, if I reach this certain point, then I'm good, right? I don't know whether they be gambling.
We all got a number, Rod.
We all got a number, and I guess he hit that number for sure. But speaking of numbers, how about 20% off of everything in the merch store? All you got to do is use the code DGENS, DEGENS. You can get yourself any number of outstanding racing gambling podcast stuff. You can get yourself some sports gambling podcast stuff. Cody was wearing the Race Officials Are Terrorists shirt last night. That is going over like gangbusters, so definitely want to get that. What was the one that we came up with last night, Cody, that we had to get?
Putting me on the spot here, Rod. I think it was all race. Was it all race cars matter? Something with the Pirelli tires and the Firestones and the Goodyears all on there. So I think we need to get that. That's a lot of fun. But make sure you go get your own 20% off. Use that code DGENS in our merch store. Cody, we are at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina for this Coca-Cola 600. We are set for 400 laps around this 1.5 mile paved track for 600 miles, even. Longest race of the season. Lots of laps to lead. Lots of potentials for fast lap, Cody. So for DFS purposes, this is probably one of the more fun races of the entire season. Yeah, it's you're going to want to make sure you get the right people this week because it's a long one, 400 laps. Obviously Bristol a couple weeks ago, you had 500 laps. Hopefully you had Kyle. If you didn't, it was pretty rough for you. But this is a big race when it comes to the DFS side of things because it's a lot of laps led. It's a lot of fastest laps. And those are really going to be your key things this weekend.
Yeah, and the place differential too. If you kind of look, there's a few guys that have been managing to improve their positions by and large a lot, but there's not a whole lot of room except for maybe some of the value guys in place differential. So you do need to make sure that you are getting somebody with a nice solid finishing position that averages a nice solid finishing position here, and somebody that has the potential to go out and lead some laps. And that's what you look for this week in DFS as you're scouting these drivers, because again, it's a long race. Sometimes it does get a little strung out, and you're not going to get guys passing 10, 12 cars to make you up a whole bunch of difference. So yeah, identifying the dominators, as they're calling them, is what you got to do this week.
Yeah, and we've seen this race. We've seen a lot of different things, right? We've seen guys like Martin Truex Jr. come out and lead 90% of this race and run away with it. We've also seen a pretty good mixed bag of different lap leaders over the years. That's what we sort of expected at Kansas a couple of weeks ago, right? At 1.5 miles, and we didn't get that. Larson just dominated the whole thing. I still think that was maybe more of a fluke race than anything, and then they just happened to nail everything right. I think over this 600 miles with changing conditions, there is going to be multiple guys that get the opportunity to get out front and lead quite a few laps. So hopefully, you're going to want to hit 2 or 3 guys, I think, at the top of the board that kind of gobble up all of that stuff. And then farther down the field, that's where you're going to, place differential is going to matter a little bit more along with the finishing positions.
Yeah. And really, as we talk through this race too, and we talk about how drivers have performed in the past few years, keep in mind that last year's race, and we said this on the betting episode, but not a lot of everybody listens on the betting episode sometimes, in that, this was a race that got
Coca-Cola 312.5, Rod.
312.5. And Christopher Bell actually led the most laps in that one. He led 90 of those. And then we'll talk about some of these other guys and how many laps they led over the course of the couple. But yeah, there's definitely some chance for several people to lead a few laps here and there, but by and large, you'll get one guy. So we'll get that. Speaking of guys in this race, Cody, do we have the official entry list for the Coca-Cola 600?
Yeah, we had so much to talk about yesterday. We didn't really get to cover this, but we got to cover it, Rod, because there's 40 cars entered into this one. TBA is going to be driving the number 44 car for New York Racing Team. I have not seen the cars entered, but I have not seen who's going to drive that. Probably end up being a JJ Yaley or something like that. I'm sure they're trying to finalize sponsorship dollars on that. Josh Bilicki's in the 66 car. Connor Zilich in the number 87 car. And the GOAT himself, 700th career start, Jimmy Johnson in the Legacy Motor Club number 84 car. He'll be back this weekend at the track that he once owned, both almost literally and quite figuratively.
I'm telling you right now, he could probably cut a check with all of his winnings there and buy that entire track. So I wouldn't doubt that at all. Old-fashioned football.
He did that and bought an entire team, Rod.
This is true. He took up your checkbook saying, Carvana, thank you for footing the bill on this one. So old-fashioned football saying, hey, gents, and telling us nice work on the big show last night. Thanks, Justin.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
Love it.
All right, Rod. Ready to get into some picks?
I'm ready to get into some picks, but before we do, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you and everybody else out there to our friends over at Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring that all gambling transactions are approved. More importantly, no usage fees, no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards and get 100% approval for all betting deposits. Never, ever, ever will you hear them tell you no, which is what I absolutely love, because I hate that word. It's a terrible word. No one should ever use that word. I'm hearing it's the worst word in the world, so I think we should get rid of it, but Edge Boost does get rid of it. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN, and you deposit $25, and Edge Boost is going to match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Well, we're set to give you a ton of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays for this slate, so keep an ear open. Later in the show, we're going to offer you our favorite plays for this race. Underdog is going long for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. You can hop in game one, and the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonuses get. Like I said, we're going to give you a bunch of our favorite plays here for this one, so hang tight. In the meantime, while you're at those, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN if you haven't. Claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Pretty excited about the Underdog plays this week too. There's a lot of good ones, and I will tell you right now, I refrained from picking on one driver this week, so you guys can all be glad that I did.
Well, that was very nice of you, Rod. I'm sure the Ty Gibbs fans are very happy.
I told you. All right, listen. One last time for those of you who don't listen to anything that anybody ever says. I don't hate these people, and I don't wish bad upon them. I would love to see them succeed. I merely am here as an analyst to analyze. Go ahead and come at me with all of my terrible picks. That's fine. I'm not here to defend all of that.
For the contingency of Ty Gibbs fans that do listen to this show, when we were on the big show yesterday, Rod's internet went out and he disappeared for a little while. I told the guys that he left to go lead the Ty Gibbs fan club meeting. So hope you guys all appreciated that. All right, Rod, should we get into our Hyatt Price picks now? Well, Cousin Danny's checking in. Shout out to Cousin Danny. Says he's got Byron Marcus. Marcus, of course, was talking about him, Christopher Bell. He's on Byron. The farther we get into this week, the more I get into William Byron, $10,500. He is my high-price driver this week. We did talk about him on the betting episode yesterday in the head-to-head over Tyler Reddick. He's been really fucking good here in this race, right? Third place finish last year, even in the shortened race, led 49 laps there. And again, it's a 400 lap race, but last year we only ran just over 200. So leading 49, he led a quarter of the race basically. You like that? He was first in stage 1, second in stage 2, right there in the mix. And then 2 years ago, 2023, starts on the pole, leads 91 laps on the day, wins stage 1 there. Second place at the end of the day. Did get caught up in a wreck in 22, but as we noted yesterday, he was, I think, in 8th place. Ryan over at iFantasy Race had noted when that wreck occurred, right? Sometimes that's going to happen. It was the big one, as Ryan called it. It was just a crazy wreck that was there. But you go back to 2021, he finished 4th place in this race that year. And he's had some other good runs here in 9th place back in 2019, 12th place in 2020 as well. So really good runs from Byron, especially lately, especially in the next gen car, including laps led. We know that he's obviously got the ability to do that, as we often see. It was a really rough day last time out of Kansas. We saw that just troubles early, was on pit road a lot, but still managed to get 18 fast laps as they were kind of in and out of pit road and still managed something at least. But he's been a strong guy this year all season. Go back to Darlington where he led 86 laps there. And it's William Byron. And Byron is one of those guys, I didn't really have a favorite that I picked yesterday when it came to bets because it was splitting hairs between these guys. But Byron's a guy that when he doesn't have issues like he had at Kansas last week, can run out front, can look good and run well, and can lead those laps and rack up the fastest laps. We've seen him go out and lead 150, 200 laps in a race. I'm feeling the 24 car a little bit this weekend, Rod. So William Byron going to start me off at $10,500.
Well, and we talk all the time, too, about how with these Hendrick Motors sports guys, it's like they're all fast and they all have the potential to lead laps. They all have the potential to finish inside of the top 5. They all have the fastest cars on the track almost every single week. And so I almost feel like you pretty much have to have at least one in your lineup every single week, just on the off chance that they do go out, like a Kyle Larson, like a William Byron, like a Chase Elliott, who been a little quiet so far this season, but I think always has that potential to strike, right? It's like a snake that's just kind of waiting there to pounce and take its shot. And then, Alex Bowman, the biggest wild card of them all. But yeah, I'm with you on William Byron. I think as you start to dig deeper, you're like, oh, well, okay, this maybe is a really good play this week. And me, I'm going down just a couple of notches from that one, and I'm going to take Ryan Blaney, a guy I talked a little bit about on the betting episode because I really do have high hopes for Ryan Blaney. Look, in 2023, the last full race that we ran, the last full Coca-Cola 600 on that one, Ryan Blaney wins the race, right? But it's not enough that he won the race, which is fantastic, but he turned 79 of the fastest laps. And so you get just under a half a point for fastest laps, right? So think about how many points 79 actually ends up being. 79 fastest laps ends up being for a guy like Ryan Blaney. He finished that day 128.3 fantasy points in that 2023 Coca-Cola 600. He led 163 laps. He had 79 of the fastest laps, started 8th, finished 1st. That is a fantastic fantasy day for Ryan Blaney. Now, we fast forward to this season, and I know that it's been sort of the finishes have not been there for Ryan Blaney, and he's fallen under so many pianos. I feel like Ty Majeski's driving that car half the time, but no, it actually is Ryan Blaney. Although, when you look at what the loops, what I love, okay, here's what I love for you, everybody out there. iFantasy Race, Ryan has given us a great reference sheet as far as loop data, right? So if you go to their website and you look, and it's loop data heading into whatever particular race, so you can actually sort by all of this stuff. And so for fantasy purposes, it's great because now I'm looking at fastest laps. I see Kyle Larson has 269 fast laps this season. And then right behind him, I see Ryan Blaney has 204 fast laps. The next person down there is William Byron at 188. So we're talking fastest drivers on the track week in, week out. It is Kyle Larson, who we all know is Kyle Larson, and then it's Ryan Blaney. So I again, when you're talking about those intangibles, the ones that you can't see, the laps led, all of this stuff, Ryan Blaney's in that mix. And if you think about it, his finishes, while we say they weren't all that there, he's actually, oh man, it's unfortunate. He's 16.3, which is what really kind of turned you off on it. But, Ryan Blaney is definitely a fast car. I'm hoping that the 2023 Ryan Blaney shows up in this instance. We've seen some signs of life from him over the course of this last few races. And we're hoping that quite possibly that ends up turning around for him and he can actually put together a semi-decent finish this week, especially in 600 miles, because we know these Penske cars are fast and we know that they can get some stuff done. Third place at Texas last week, third place at Kansas the week before, fifth at Darlington, fifth at Bristol. So signs are pointing up for Ryan Blaney, and I hope that leads to a good fantasy day for him as well this week.
Yeah, he's had maybe the fastest car this season. He's shown a lot of flashes, and they struggled putting the results together early in the season, but they've been getting put together here lately. You mentioned it. He's led a lot of laps in this race before. So, I'm on board
Beautiful
with you
stuff.
there.
All right. Well, then that is our high price driver recommendations. Let us fit you into something a little more affordable with our mid-tier drivers. Cody, who are we saving money on right now?
Yeah, I'm actually going to jump right over to Ryan Blaney's teammate, Austin Cindric. So I was going to give Josh Berry out here so I just want to touch on Berry. Berry's $7,800 in this range. I've talked about him a lot, talked about it on the betting episode. If you want to hear more about him, go back and listen to that. But I wanted to highlight Austin Cindric. He is a much higher variance play. I'm going to put that out there right away. He could have a really great day. There's also a chance it could not be such a good day, right? 7,500 for Cindric. We've seen, let's start with this race in the past. 3 starts here. It's not really been good. 34th, 31st, and 20th. So he's gotten better every time. I guess we'll give him that. But that's about it, right? There's not been much there. I don't know if you saw Rod, his father, Tim Cindric, who's basically Roger Penske's right-hand man, got fired today. So that's interesting dynamic there. But I think Cindric's seat is pretty safe. We're kind of having that discussion in the Discord, but maybe lights a little bit of a fire. Like, we should perform pretty well here, right? And he has performed really well this season. But results have been somewhat lacking, and that's been part of the issue. So you go back to Texas, mile and a half a couple of weeks ago. He led 60 laps there. That was the race where all the 4 Penske cars, Berry included in the Wood Brothers car, have looked so fast in these mile and a halves. They've looked so good, and Cindric has been a part of that. 60 laps out front, had no problem running out front, leading laps, finished in 25th. So that's the variance you're going to get. Got the upside of leading 60 laps. Sometimes he doesn't end up putting the result with it, and that's kind of where the issue's been. But you go back to Las Vegas, it was the same thing. Josh Berry wins that race, right? But Cindric led 47 laps that day, ended it with a 6th place finish. So that's the other side of the variance coin. If he can get that good finish along with leading the laps, I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin Cindric come out and lead 50, 75, maybe even 100 laps if they can put themselves in the right position in this race. And don't plug him into every single lineup because there is a lot of variance there, but he could certainly be a guy that really pushes you over the top. I don't know that a lot of people are going to play him because he's not been good in this race in the past. And we've talked a lot yesterday about how you want to kind of lean on guys that have been good in this race, but I'm separating. He was newer. He was getting comfortable. I think he's not to Blaney or Logano levels by any means, obviously, right? But he's getting better and better, and we're starting to see that Xfinity guy we once knew kind of come out, and we've seen it a mile and a half specifically this year. And a good run at Kansas, an 11th place finish. Didn't lead any laps there, but had a decent run and ended up near the front. So that's what you're looking from Austin Cindric. And nobody was leading laps, right? Because Kyle Larson led them all anyways. So give me Austin Cindric as a high variance play this week, but I think he could strike and come through at 75.
It's the glasses. I have to cheer for a guy with glasses. So, yeah, okay. No, I'll go with you on Cindric. Again, for a DFS play, we always tend to give you really, I don't want to say cash game plays quite a bit, but I mean, I think this week we're going off on some GPP plays here because in this instance, there's going to be a lot of chalk and we know that. And so I think we have to find you guys that have very high upside. And yeah, obviously the floor could be a negative point day, but if you don't swing hard, you ain't going to hit the fence. So I think in this instance, we're trying to get you that home run and just not that bloop double. So my guy is along that same lines, and that's Noah Gragson. At 6,800 for Noah Gragson, it's frustrating because when you look at Noah Gragson, you feel like, the winner of the fan vote, first and foremost, should be a guy that performs on a high level every day, all the time. But at 6,800, like, I want upside, right? I want explosive upside. I want a maybe 41 points like he gave you last week at Kansas, or I'm sorry, last week at the All-Star race rather. Or he can get me -9 points like he did a few weeks ago as well. So again, I mean, you're swinging for the fence here, but if you miss, you miss. At Kansas, he got you 39 points, which is fantastic. Right? I'm sorry. Yeah, at Texas, rather, he got you 39 points. And then, at Kansas. Rod, you can read the races. They're sitting right in front of you. Says NASCAR All-Star Race. That says NASCAR Open. How about Advent Health 400? That is Kansas. 39 points. Back that up a little bit, shall we? No, 39 points at Kansas, which is what you're hoping for, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing you want.
Go.
Too bad we're live, and too bad I don't edit any of this stuff out, which is why I think. Okay, I'll go off on that tangent in a second, but let me finish my point with Noah Gragson. 24th place start, 14th place finish at Kansas last week. And for me, I'm looking at that version of Noah Gragson and hoping that that's the one that we see. Because when you look at his average start and his average finish this year, it's so funny, right? You don't want him to lose you points, but you also hope that he gains you some points. Well, his average start this season, 22.2. His average finish this season, 22.2. So he's not gaining you any spots. He's not losing you any spots. And so when you look at it this way, right, 22nd place finish in a DK contest is good enough for 20 points. That is his bare minimum base without any sort of differential whatsoever. Or if he actually does start in the back and moves his way up, he can get you a few more. But like I said, this is more of a GPP play for me that I don't think anybody's going to be playing Noah Gragson because it just doesn't feel like somebody you want to play. And I think that's where you leverage this, because if he does come out, have a good top 14 day, have a good top 15 day, starting in the middle of the pack, then you get those place differential points and you get a pretty good finishing position points for him. And, just under $7,000, I feel like that's good value.
Yeah, I agree. I have no arguments. You know how much I love Noah Gragson. Obviously, he's a man of the people. The people love him as well. And I think he's due for a good ride. We talked about both of his teammates front row there on the betting episode yesterday. So I think it's good to, bring the whole front row team into the conversation.
I do too. Speaking of conversation, so my daughter, real quick, my daughter did a report. I told you guys the other day about being influencers and asked us some questions, even asked Cody questions.
Yeah.
And said, was casual always supposed to be the tone for this show? And when I went to answer the question to her, I was like, well, I don't know that there was any other way that we could do that, right? There's no other way we could be anything other than what we are. So I think you guys enjoy the fact that this is an actual conversation rather than just us spitting facts at you for an hour a day,
Yeah, great question by her. But yeah, I was like, when I got that question, I was like, well, yeah, like you said, I don't think there is any other way it could have been. Like, we're just, I mean, especially I had no podcasting experience prior to this, so it was probably going to be pretty casual. But yeah, hey, we mess up. We're humans. We're doing it live, so that's how it goes. Laura checking in says, "Dang, I almost missed you. Howdy, Laura. You didn't almost miss us. We got some time left.
No, we do. Yeah, and we started a little earlier today just because of the scheduling conflicts and all that. So we're good. But all right, now let us take a drop all the way down into the value bin, something I love to do because then I can get more of the things I like. So, Cody, who are we saving the most amount of money on in this race?
Yeah, you go down toward the bottom. There's some guys. Oh, Derek Kraus is now listed on here. He's going to be in the 44 car. That's, I guess, a good update. So there you go. You don't want to play him. Balicki is going to be pretty tough. Cody, where is it? There's some guys down here that we talk about a lot, right? The Ty Dillons, John R. Nemechek, we talked about in the betting episode. Some other guys that you could certainly play. A guy we've not really talked about much this season, though, and I kind of wanted to highlight. He's been quietly doing well, and that's Riley Herbst. He's only $5,000, fourth cheapest driver on the slate. You want to jam in some more expensive guys near the top because you're looking for more laps leaders, more fastest laps. You need a guy like Riley Herbst to kind of be there to back you up. Rod, he's not run this race before because, of course, he's a rookie in the Cup Series and not one of the starts that he had made in his few starts prior to becoming a rookie this season. So we have no data there. He's not done the 600-mile race, so we'll see how that goes for him. But been impressed with what I've seen lately. 27th at Kansas was left a little bit to be desired, but Texas starts in 21st, finishes in 14th at only $5,000. It's a perfect day from a guy like that. It's exactly what you're looking for, and really exactly what you want out of somebody that cheap. He scored you 36 points on that day. That's a very strong, solid day, and something you want. Go back to Las Vegas. Even better, actually. He starts in 34th place and finishes in 19th. So some good runs on the intermediates by Herbst. We know 2311. We've kind of talked down a little bit about him yesterday, head-to-head wise, and they've not had the speed or the results that we kind of expect out of 2311 on the mile and a halves. But they're still a solid team, and they've got speed. And Herbst has shown to have a good car. I think back to a couple of weeks ago when he was in the Xfinity Series and I had an outright on him, and I was pretty disappointed because he didn't really show up all day. But all of a sudden at the end of the race, there he is in third place, like just kind of minded his P's and Q's, and all of a sudden, he's kind of in the mix at the end, right? So that's kind of what you want from Riley. Just a nice, quiet day. That's what he's been doing. Is what he's done a couple of times so far this season on the mile and a half. I think that without complete, that's the thing about the bottom of the board is you can play Kraus if you want to. There's not a lot of upside. That you think that 44 car is going to make it 600 miles, Rod? Boy, it's going to be tough. You might buy a Ford Focus at the local, car dealership down the street and have a better shot at making it the 600 miles, if we're going to be honest. And some of these other guys, Bilicki in that 66 car is not much better. So kind of looking around, you're getting a guy on a really strong, solid team. It's got good mile and a half cars and is a good driver for as much heat as he does take. And he's had some pretty good results in the mile and a half this year. So a good way to save money, but also still get a little bit of upside.
You see that tongue wagging straight out of the radiator, just like I can't even anymore. Like puffs of smoke, rather not to have a little 44 after 600 miles. It's what I look like after 600 miles. I'll tell you that much right now. But
yeah.
All right. I only get to talk about him a couple of times a year, and you'd best believe that there was going to be talk of the man, the myth, the legend, Jimmie Johnson. He's on the cover. His beautiful smiling Carvana face is right there. Look, Jimmie Johnson, my low price driver, surprise, $5,500. The man that almost won the Daytona 500 earlier in the year. Lest we forget, kids, as much as we have heralded the resurgence of this Legacy Motor Club team, it all started back in February when Jimmie Johnson crossed the finish line in third place. Everyone laughed at me. Everybody said, "Oh, Rod's picking Jimmie Johnson again." And doggone, that's it. Yeah, but guess what? He got you 81 points that day in fantasy. 81 points. Started 40th, finished third. Ooh, doggy. That's $5,500. Now, okay, he's not going to get you 81 points again. I understand that. And I'm definitely not saying that he will. But for the guy that, like you said, absolutely owned this track once upon a time, 8 wins on this track in 39 career starts, 22 top 10 finishes. His average finish 13.9, and yes, I understand that 84 car has not done him well in the past. He got 37th in 2023, 29th last year in this race. The tail end of his career in the 48, I mean, this is the finishes for him in 2016, third. He won in 2016 in the fall, 17th the following spring, 7th the following fall, 5th, 8th, 40th, 11th. Were his final races in the 48 car. And, like we said, that 84 car over the last couple of years, Legacy has not been able to find its sea legs until, of course, this year, when all of a sudden we're talking about, hey, look how fast John Hunter Nemechek has been. His average finish, 18.2. But I tell you what, if you would have told me last year that 18.2 was a Legacy Motor Club average finish, I would tell you that they're living in the green or whatever the financial thing. See, I don't have money, so I don't know which part is good, the red or the black, but they're in the good, right? And for John Hunter Nemechek, an 8th place finish in Fort Worth, a 10th place finish at Kansas. John Hunter's already got as many top 10s this far into the season. We're not even all halfway yet than he had all of last season. So we're looking at a like we said, a new look Legacy Motor Club team where these guys are really pulling it out. Eric Jones, 5th place a couple of weeks ago at Kansas. Like it's starting to look respectable for Legacy Motor Club. And I think when you're getting a guy like Jimmy Johnson, who has done fantastic things on this track, fantastic things in his career, all of a sudden feeling it, right? Because now he's the one in charge. It's all him. The keys are in his hands. And if he screws up, then there's nobody else to blame but him. So I don't think he wants to do that. And I think he wants to continue to go out there and have good runs. And I hope he starts in the back, because that just means that I get all these place differential points and at the end, a good solid finish from Jimmy. I'll take a top 15. I'll take a top 10. I'll definitely take a top 3 out of Jimmy. But I still think whatever it is, I think he's going to make a great DFS play this week. And not just because I'm absolutely man crushing over him, but just the simple fact that I think he's going to be a good play this week.
Yeah, there's a good chance he starts farther in the back. He's going to qualify early, obviously, because of the metrics. But I actually, at times I've poked fun at you, made fun of you for playing this. But with the speed we've seen at Legacy, you pointed out with the Eric Jones finish at Kansas just a couple of weeks ago. I believe he was the top finishing Toyota in that race, even, which is, again, why we talked about John Nemechek 90-1 yesterday. Go back and listen to that. But John Nemechek's a guy I love this weekend in those Legacy cars. We've seen that team be bumped up, and we saw it a couple of years ago. The first year in Next Gen, you had Eric Jones in the 43. Ty Dillon even had a decent season in the 42 car. We saw some stuff from them. It kind of faded over the last 2 years, but a year or two of being in Toyota now, they're really getting their legs under them. It seems like Jimmy's obviously made quite a few changes over there, and this program's in a better spot. A lot of Jimmy starts have been fairly laughable lately, which is unfortunate for the greatest race car driver to ever do it. But I think that this is a really good opportunity, like you said, and having a veteran like him, you don't have to worry about him being out of shape. I mean, Jimmy Johnson is one of the most in-shape people in the world. He's going to be ready to go for these 600 miles. Hopefully he'll start a little farther back, mind his P's and Q's, work his way forward. I think he could have a strong DFS day for you.
I certainly hope so, because I am all in on Jimmy Johnson, as I always am. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this Coca-Cola 600. Cody started you off with William Byron as his high-priced driver at $10,500. I said Ryan Blaney was my high-priced driver at $10,200. Cody said Austin Cindric at $7,500 was his medium-tier driver, and I said Noah Gragson. Take a chance at $6,800 for him to be our mid-tier driver. And then Cody said Riley Herbst at $5,000 was his low-price driver. And I have the greatest of all times, the million-time champion, Jimmy Johnson, $5,500 as my low-price driver. All right. We have got a full slate of underdog picks for you on the other side of this. But allow me to tell you about my friends over at Rhythm. Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Dominate those NBA playoffs, PGA, MLB, and we just launched the WNBA, so make sure you get in there now. Rhythm knows you're going to love it. That's why they've included a 7-day free trial. I'm already feverishly building every model I can on Caitlin Clark. Rebounds, points, dunks, I don't know, whatever else I can get on Caitlin Clark. Rhythm is trying to help me build all of my favorite bets for her this season. Plus, Rhythm has amazing deals going on right now. You get 25% off of a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and $50 off an annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Fantasy football season is underway. And for those of you who love the destination drafts, well, here's your chance. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, giving away an ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in beautiful Las Vegas. And even more and more better, get treated like a VIP for that entire stay. When you win, you will receive a 2-night stay at Circa Resort Casino for the entire 12-person league. make sure you're accounting correctly. That's 6 Double King rooms. So don't go thinking you get your own room. So make sure you pick your roommate wisely. And you're also going to get you're going to get to hold your draft at the Cabana Stadium Swim with $5,000 food and beverage credit, limo transportation to and from the airport, welcome party at the Legacy Club for the league, a reservation at the world's largest sports book with $500 beverage credit for the entire league, and 2-hour open bar package for the league at Overhang Bar. I don't think Overhang knows what's going to hit it when I hit there. Woo! Don't tell me open bar. For 2 hours, challenge accepted. All right, contest is open now through June the 30th. You want to enter, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CICRCA. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag as well. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. And for the true DJs out there, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. You get easy deposit, lightning fast payout using crypto. Absolutely love me, my Call of Duty league, and you know it right now. It's Optic Texas going up against Toronto Ultra. I know Toronto is killing it right now. I know that everything's going their way, but Optic is scrappy, and Optic definitely deserves some love. You can get them at +1.5. Ooh, well, you know what? I'm going to take the money line on them. -125 on the money line for Optic Texas. I think Snoopy's got some stuff going on, and I think he's going to be able to carry that team to a win. So give me Optic Texas over Toronto Ultra over there on MyBookie. You can head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus of deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. I would like, Cody, for nothing else, to give ourselves. Oh yeah, we were trying to figure out your nickname yesterday, but I want to give ourselves code names like they do in the Call of Duty League. That's what I want more than anything.
Yeah, still taking submissions on the nickname thing. If you listened to the main show yesterday,
Sassy Cody's still in the league, but
yeah, it's a very short lead. So
it is indeed. King checking in. I already have. Look it, that's fine because I'm already banging the drum against Ty Gibbs. He can bang the drum against me.
Anti-Rod Club checking in. King is definitely the president of that fan club.
But can you separate the picks from the person? Like, me and Ty Gibbs go out and have a beer, I would love to have a beer with Ty Gibbs because I don't hate Ty Gibbs the person. Like I said, the driver right now, that's
I did like how they Sean and Ryan tried to go in depth on that yesterday. Like, did you hate the Redskins back in the day? Like, is this Joe Gibbs related or no? It's just pure hate from Ross.
Yeah, it's just straight up like until we have a beer together. And even then, like, I don't care. We can have beers and I'm still going to call him out on not finishing well. Because like I said, I guarantee if he sat there and started a podcast calling me out on all my bad picks, then I mean, I completely warrant it, right? That's how this world works anymore. But all right, speaking of good picks, we're about to load you up with a ton of our favorite ones from Underdog Fantasy, who work under the premise of this. They give you projected finishing positions for each driver. That's what they do. And you have to decide whether or not you feel like they're going to finish better than or worse than that finishing projection. And in some case, there's literally just better than. So can they beat the projection? Yes or no? You stack up some multipliers. You have yourself a good time and watch the money get in at the end of the race. I know Cody's a pro at building these things and getting all the money. His underdog, he could have an open bar from just his underdog winnings.
Really just reinvest them into more underdog, but it's a lot of fun. I certainly love underdog a ton, Rod. And boy, I tell you, last week was interesting with the All-Star race and how they decided to go about that, but they have made up for it this week. There is a lot of really good options over on Underdog. Was too easy, actually, for me to pick out plays and plenty that I could have put in that I had to leave off. So the first of which, Chase Briscoe, better than 12.5. I'm all in on the Briscoe train, Rod. He doesn't have to win the race. He doesn't have to have a great finish. Just finish in the top 12. That's all you need. I love the fourth place finish at Kansas. Just meticulously worked his way forward throughout the day. Nothing flashy, nothing special, found his way forward, got the long race here. I think that he can get it done. The season started out slow. It started out rough. Tried to tell you it would, but things are getting better now. 3 top 4 finishes in the last 7 races, 25th, 20th the last 2 years. You definitely would like better results. It was the 4 car with SHR as they got, or the 14 car rather with SHR, but as they got closer to falling off those last 2 years, back in 2022, though, a 4th place finish in this race. And last year was only 312.5 miles, so it doesn't count anyways. So 4th place finish, though, 3 years ago in this race. We know he can do it. We know he can get it done. Martin Truex Jr. in this car the last 3 years, 2 12th place finishes and a 3rd place. So just underneath the better than on this in all 3 seasons in that car. I think that Chase Briscoe, as I mentioned yesterday, is going to have a shot to win this one, especially at the number that he is at. But just get a top 12 finish this week. I think that's something that Briscoe can do. It's a great car, good driver. Give me Chase Briscoe better than 12.5.
I've been very hard on Chase Briscoe this season, and obviously for good reason, because you drive. And here's the thing, okay, cousin Danny bringing it up too. If Ty Gibbs isn't old enough to have a beer, that is absolutely
he's 22.
Correct.
He's just old enough. He just barely. He's had a couple beers.
Although he's like me, are you tall enough to have a beer? That's the question. And then King says if Ty was running with Cody Ware every week, he'd shut up, but he's got speed. Could win any week. Could is the operative word there. But with Chase Briscoe, that I say that only to bring it full circle with Chase Briscoe being in that same equipment. You expect the 19, you expect the 54, you expect the 11 to be, and the 20, I guess, to be fast every single week, right? Because it's JGR. That's the gold standard, along with Hendrick and whatever other mega team you want up there. But they're not, right? I mean, they could win any week, King, but he's not. He's finishing 20th. He's finishing 23rd. It's not. That's where it is. Speed is one thing, but can you translate that speed into wins? Which is what I think Briscoe is starting to get, like you said, the hang of, and got to inch up along, I guess. 12th place is fine. I can see that for Briscoe this week. And another car that I can see finish. This is where I said you can only get one option for Connor Zilic. You only get better than, and that's in the top 10. So this is essentially a Connor Zilic top 10 bet or top 10 pick for this slate. Look, Connor Zilic driving that 87 Trackhouse machine. We talk about Ross Chastain on a week-to-week basis. I know Daniel Suarez is falling a little bit out of favor, but he still can turn a top 10 finish on some of these tracks as well. There's no numbers to back up this for Connor Zilic, obviously, because we know that he has only made one Cup Series start, and that was in Austin, and he crashed out at COTA. So you can't necessarily look back on any gigantically huge offerings for Connor Zilic. But the equipment is there, right? The equipment is there, and the kid can drive. Like, he's not scared. He's not afraid of all of the big name drivers around him. And I think as long as he just goes up there, turns laps, and does good things, he can drive that equipment into a good 10th place finish, right? I mean, to me, this is more about him being able to go out there and just, and I know SVG too, that's the problem. Everybody's like, well, SVG's driving a Trackhouse car and he's not very good right now. I know, but we all overestimate, well, not all of us, I guess. A majority of the people overestimated. We thought he was learning, right? We thought there was a few finishes in there that were like, oh, but SVG could have been a top 10 car on a week-to-week basis as well, had he been able to really pick it up fast enough. And it's taken a season and a half now of trying to get the ovals under his belt.
Who could have seen this?
I don't know. Maybe a couple of guys sitting in these seats right now. But I will say, look, for Connor Zilic, I really am giving him the benefit of the doubt this week. And I think a 10th place finish, if he can just outlast some of the carnage, because we talked about some of these, there was 16 cautions a couple of years ago, 18 the year before that, 7 last year before they called the race. So there's going to be a lot of upheaval due to cautions. So if we can get on the right strategy with Connor Zilic, if he can stay where he's at, and if he can finish a respectable 10th place or better, I like the kid, and I think he'll be able to do it this week.
Yeah, I like this play. There's definitely some variance there, but that's why you get, it's if he is in the top 10, finishes better than 10.5, it's 1.71 times. So it's not just the regular, 1 times your entry. It's getting boosted essentially on the fantasy pick there. But he's definitely got that upside, right? Got to stay clean. Don't be one of those 14 cautions. But he's got the talent. He's in a good car at Trackhouse there. and I definitely think that he could get it done. So I do like this play. I love me some Connor Zilic. I've been a few things I wanted to see him do better in Xfinity, but we're getting closer. We're getting there, and I think that he'll get it done soon. Somebody else that I've been liking a lot this week, William Byron. I just read off his finishes here, right? They were pretty good. He's got to be set at what? 3.54, 8.5. All William Byron has to do, finish inside of the top 8. I just gave you all the stats a few minutes ago, but he's been really good at this track previously. He's been great here. He's got, and the 24th at Kansas, again, kind of throwing that out. 13th at Texas, you'd like to have been better, but 4th place at Vegas was good. 5 finishes in the last 9 races. 3rd and 2nd the last 2 years in this race. Again, that 32nd place finish a couple of years ago, but that was the asterisk. He was running in 8th place at least before the wreck there. And even back in 2021, pre-next gen car, a 4th place finish. Byron's been good here. And unlike the DFS portion of things, he doesn't have to lead a bunch of laps. He doesn't have to have fastest laps to work out here. Just at the end of the day, William Byron has to be inside of the top 8. It's a pretty good projection to me. I thought this number would be lower where some of the other drivers are, honestly. So I think 8.5 is a very generous projection from Underdog. Give me William Byron better than
this one. I absolutely love as well, because you are jumping on it at such a low end of the spectrum. I mean, top 10 is pretty much a lock. So now it's just a matter of just a couple more spots digging for him. And obviously we know that all of the Hendrick Motorsports cars are capable of doing it. So definitely love that one. All right. I was going to go full Trackhouse, but I couldn't find the other 2 drivers. So I just went with the second Trackhouse driver in this one, and I'm going to take Ross Chastain. Here's what I find very, very, I guess, telling, right? Connor Zilic, 10.5. It's better than. Is he going to get a top 10? That's really all you get. But Ross Chastain, who has 8 finishes of better than 12.5 this season out of 12 races. So only 4 times as he missed this mark this season, one of them being last week at Kansas. I get it. And the other time being at Talladega.
Bless you.
Sorry. I love it. For those of you who don't, I can mute my own microphone over here, so you'll never know that I just sneezed. But Miami at 31st place finish, 20th at Talladega, 18th at Kansas, and then 40th at Daytona. So really only 3 finishes that were out of, or that were in his control, other than the 40th at Daytona. But 8th at Atlanta, 12th at Coda, 11th at Phoenix, 5th at Vegas, in which that one's the one that I'm really taking away. Obviously, because it's a 1.5 miles. So 5th at Las Vegas, 6th at Martinsville, 7th at Darlington, 7th at Bristol, 2nd a couple weeks ago at Texas, and like I said, that 18th place finish at Kansas. So, I mean, a 12th place finish for him is not that difficult. And in fact, if you look at last year, he did finish 8th. I know it was a shortened race, but he did lead 10 laps at that, which means he had speed, and he started 7th. So he was able to kind of maintain his position there in that one car. So I don't know what would have happened. He may have crashed out of the second half of that race, but who knows? I'm just going to be hopeful that he would have maintained where he was at. But like I said, 8 times out of 12 this season, Ross Chastain, over varying track conditions, has managed to finish better than 12.5. And I feel like this is a really good spot for him to be able to do it here again. Talk about him in the DFS purposes, talk about him betting purposes. I just feel like it's going to be a good day for him overall. So give me Ross Chastain better than 12.5.
Yeah, no argument from me on this one. Chastain, you've talked about him a lot here lately, but for good reason. He's a solid driver in a good car. And again, 12.5 doesn't even have to be a top 10, just inside of the top 12 seems very doable for a driver.
It does
like that.
indeed. All right, one more driver a piece for us to pick. So Cody, where are we going next?
Mr. Consistent. Give me Chase Elliott better than 10.5. Again, I think that he's going to be in competition to go out and win this race, but just has to go out, have a good day. That's all we're looking for. Talked about him yesterday on the betting episode. The next gen stats here aren't great. He did finish 7th place last year, so that would be better than, of course, 34th, 33rd the other 2 years. Got in that scuffle with Denny 2 years ago, and had a really strong car, led 86 laps, won stage 1 before wrecking in 2022. But before that was really good here, has been really good here in the 600, coming off of that run at Kansas where that 9 car, it was like, finally, oh my God, there's some speed. And then the picker fucked it up. But I think hopefully they obviously, get that cleaned up and get that fixed up. I think it's going to be a good week for Chase Elliott. And he's a guy that we just constantly talk about for, be there at the end. Even if he doesn't have to have the fastest car. He doesn't have to have the speed of Byron or Larson in this one. Just find your way to the top 10 at the end of the day. There's probably nobody I'd rather pick to do that than Chase Elliott. Always the fastest. He's very consistent at putting together good days, and given that extra 200 miles and that long day, I think is going to play even more into his hand this year once again. So give me Chase Elliott better than 10.5.
Yeah, again, it's another Hendrick Motorsports driver. You got to assume that they're going to be in 10th or better. And those three guys, I remember when I picked the team triple with Larson, Byron, and Bowman, I think it was. And then it was Larson, Byron, and I don't remember. But you got to figure that all three of them are going to be somewhere into the top 10. Oh, Elliott, that was what it was. Elliott was the one that flipped with Bowman that should have been it. So, yeah, again, any of these guys, top 10, week on a week, it's just one of those kind of locks. So, speaking of a lock, look, some of the best home run hitters in the world have gone through times at the plate where they have struggled and struck out more than they've hit home runs. This is where we're at with Kyle Busch right now. I mean, this dude swings a hot bat when he comes to this racetrack. His name is cemented all over it. He does great things. Not as good as Jimmy Johnson, of course, but one of the better drivers to ever do it on this particular track. 36 starts, 22 top 10 finishes, 16 top fives, and a win. You look at some of his last finishes since, we'll go back to 2017 because that supports my stats. 2017 in the fall, or in the spring rather, second place finish. 2017 in the fall, 29th. He won in 2018, came back in 2019 with a third place, fourth place, 29th, third, second, sixth, and 15th. I mean, that's all fine and respectable and well, right? But Kyle Busch is swinging at air right now, and there is nothing that is stopping him. He's not connecting. They've given us 11.5 as his finishing projection. I'm taking the worst then, and I hate to do it, but you have to, because at this point, his average finish this season, 18.1, which is one thing, right? You can definitely, he's on the struggle bus, but even worse, his average start is 14.5. So he's losing an average of 4 spots per race. Not really encouraging the last couple of weeks either. 21st at Kansas, 20th at Texas. You go back even to Las Vegas, right? His home track, 33rd place. Like, this has not been a very great season. 21st at Homestead for Kyle Busch, and it's not getting any better. And I don't know that 8 car can put together a top 10 run right now. If anything, last week, right? I think I said it in the betting episode. If there was ever a telling, that was for Brad Keselowski, but the same can be said for Kyle Busch. If there was ever a telling race for that 8 team, it was last week as well. They just aren't finding it. I don't know what it is, but they're not finding it. And it's definitely coming through, not just in the overall track production, but when is the last time you've really heard, other than I think Denny's podcast, from Kyle, right? He's not talking to the media a lot. He's voicing his opinions, but it's not as present as it used to be. So yeah, I mean, something's up, and an 11th place finish seems like a very, very tall task for the 8 team right now. So I'm going to take Kyle Busch worse than 11.5.
Yeah, this is one that I hate, but have to agree completely with it. Actually, I was going to put it in the picks, but you beat me to it. So yeah, you got to fade old KB, Rod, until that F comes back. Just got to keep fading them.
It's true. And here's the thing too, right? This is one where I would have expected them to just give me a 10.5 and said, is he going to finish in the top 10? Because that's where I would have put it. I wouldn't have given me 11.5 to choose the worst then, because then I'm definitely going to hammer this. Because if you give me just, is he going to finish in the top 10? I'm scrolling right past it, because I don't want anything to do with it. No, he's not going to finish inside of the top 10. And I don't think he's going to finish in the top 11 either. So yeah, it's tough, but
yeah, I really like it. And it's just, some of the stats say he should be better, but he's just not. It's been so bad lately for the team. If I could place a bet on him to spin out once or twice during this race, I would do so, because it seems like he's always spinning out on these 1.5 mile tracks, just kind of out of nowhere, losing the car. And it's frustrating, because it's not the Kyle Busch of old that we've seen. And it's just, this is where you have to adjust to things, and we're going to fade him until at some point it's going to come back. I have faith. Kyle Busch is one of the greatest race car drivers to ever do it. And I have faith that we're going to still see more out of him. But until we start seeing it, you got to fade him, and I like it. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
This is the point where you buy yourself a cup team and start to ride out into the sunset. But all right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our favorite underdog fantasy plays for the Coca-Cola 600. Cody started you off with Chase Briscoe to finish better than 12.5. I said Connor Zilich would finish better than 10.5. Cody said William Byron would finish better than 8.5. I said Ross Chastain would finish better than 12.5. Cody said Chase Elliott would finish better than 10.5. I said Kyle Busch would finish worse than 11.5. Coke 600, kids, right up the alley.
There it is. You put all those in there together, Rod. 59 times your entry fee if they all hit. Plus, I had a $10 no sweat token from Underdog, so I tossed that in there. It was a $10 entry. If it hits, all 6 of our picks hits, I'm going to win $600 almost. If it doesn't hit, I get my $10 back to use on a different entry. So it's a no sweat token, which is really nice of them to drop in there. But Underdog Fantasy is a great place to be if you're not already over there. Make sure you use that promo code RACESGPN when you sign up.
You're going to get all of that stuff. They're rolling out the red copper for Cody because Cody keeps them afloat. Cody's basically the one that keeps Underdog's lights on. So good job, Cody. Way to go.
Yes, I'm funding them part-time.
Gotta love it. All right. Well then, Cody, let's send everybody off to get all of these in before they adjust and realize what they've done to themselves. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully with some trucks and some Xfinity, but keep your fingers crossed.
Truck outrights are out, so we'll be back for sure tomorrow with truck and Xfinity, and then I think we're planning to do the Indy 500 show tomorrow as well. Finally, now that they're starting to give us some stuff to bet.
We'll all figure it out, and we'll all be here together. So stick around in the Discord, stick around on Twitter, and keep an eye out on it. But in the meantime, where else can they get some updates from you, Cody?
Yes, Rod, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. There's tons of it. You mentioned earlier we were on the main show for Sports Gambling Podcast yesterday. Make sure you go check that out. Actually, coming up here in 25 minutes, I'm going to be jumping on the Steffi Smalls show. She's another host here on the SGPN network. Going to be talking a little bit of Indy 500, Coke 600 with her, maybe even a little football stuff. I don't know what all they have planned, but excited. She's a great host and always love joining her. So going to be a fun time over there. And then, yeah, like you said, back tomorrow, Trucks Xfinity and Indy 500. Let's go. I'm excited.
God, and Monaco. We haven't even talked F1 in so long, but Monaco this weekend, too. It's such a fun weekend of racing. You got to love it. So, all right, follow me on Twitter, RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here. Make sure you check out tomorrow as Elliot and I talk about the Coke 600 as well, and maybe toss in a little bit of extra racing stuff on top of that as well. Love you guys. We'll see you all tomorrow for the fun and the rest of the week. So until then, let's go racing and let it ride.